Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, that comment's still up. Hold on a second. Let me try again. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the 40th edition of the Comicsgate Commandos. It's going to be a fantastic show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Let me bring on my just one co-host. Let's see here. Frederick Gumar.
Hey, how's it going, General Q?
Good.
Coming to you live from Quebec, where we are at sub-zero temperatures tonight.
Sub-zero?
Yes, so below 0 Celsius at freezing temperature.
I know what sub-zero means.
I just wanted to get Sub-Zero into a conversation because it's a cool thing. It's a cool name. You know, Mortal Kombat characters are called Sub-Zero.
Yes, you're not wrong. And so at the moment, I just have Frederick here as my co-host. I've called upon the Commandos. We're down a man. Carbon's not going to be able to make it tonight, folks. But whoever can, come on in. I just got the StreamYard premium thing, so as many of you as can be here.
So now that we can have abundance of people, no one's showing up.
Exactly. Isn't that funny how that works? Fantastic. Well, you know what is actually truly fantastic, ladies and gentlemen? Our next special guest, the amazing, the estimable, the effervescent Aaron Lopresti.
Thank you guys for having me. I feel like I should be in my military garb, except I don't have any. So it'll probably be World War II garb. No, I'm not that old, but I'll pretend. Thanks, guys, for having me. Appreciate it.
It's a joy to have you. Honestly, Aaron, it's like I'm a huge fan of yours. I'm going to fan out for a second here. I don't know if you remember, but I was like the guy in the chat who was pushing you to re-release Wraith of God. The original one, because it wasn't on the second campaign, if I'm not mistaken. I also got the black and white, which is fantastic.
Thank you very much.
And then obviously I've got the second one,
okay,
Garbage Man and Nightclub.
Excellent,
amazing stuff.
Thank you.
And actually, my favorite though of everything that you've done that I have so far is actually Garbage Man.
Thank you. That's you know, if I had to pick one project throughout my entire career that I think I did my best work on, that's it.
Because I had it right here.
I had so much time to work on that. When I first did it through DC, because there was no deadline on it. It was kind of like whenever you got it done, they were going to release it. And so I was just working on it as a side project and just taking my time on it, and you know, no deadline pressure for most of it. And so I'm really, really pleased with how, you know, the artwork came out in it, because I was able to spend that extra time on it that normally I didn't get to do. So thank you for supporting me, General. I appreciate
spectacular. And then the second story you had of him after Blood Hunters, the one where the zombie story.
Yeah.
That was also just absolutely fantastic. And the way you drew the zombie, I loved it. It was so good.
Thank you.
And then I have your newest work that you oh no, wait, that's Gary Martin. Sorry.
That's Gary, come on now. Oh my gosh. I'm out of here. There we go.
Okay. I got the hardcover, and I'll tell you what, folks, those of you guys listening, hold on, let me make myself big so you guys can see the beauty of this thing. First of all, the first thing I did when opening this up was smell it. You know it if you know.
It's awesome. Right from the printer kind of smell.
Exactly. Yeah. It's so good. And then we got the Dan Lawless piece on the back here.
Yeah.
Nips removed, we all know.
Yeah. That's right. Cleaned it up a little bit for the kids.
Absolutely fantastic. The material it's made out of is just superb. I mean, and I'm talking about the material when we have all this like just egregiously beautiful art.
Yeah, thank you.
Inside here. So I'm really, really happy that I got to pick up the hardcover there. But yeah, so you have at the moment you have Fear Hollow, Wraith of God 3.
Yes.
So I usually let the creators, the artists, choose if they want me to share the page or if they want to share it themselves and scroll through it, because some people like to do that themselves. So do you want to share it, or do you want me to share it?
Oh, if you've got it queued up, go ahead.
Yeah. Let me cue it up here. Put it on the thing here. Actually, wait a minute. I'm sorry to do this, Aaron, but before I get into that, I do have to say hello to the chat here.
Please do.
So let's say hello. We got Adam Weber. Hail Adam Weber. He beat Frederick to the punch again. Frederick, you've been slacking, man. Just saying. You used to be the first guy to comment all the time. Now where are you?
Now I'm on the chat. I'm on the show, but I'm happy that he's keeping the tradition, man. I think anyone that comes in and pulls the flag, the first comment is a true trooper.
Yes, very much so. We got Mr. Self-Destruct, another commando. He says somewhere, someone, somehow, someone. Whoops, my bad. We got Alpha Channel. I don't think Alpha Channel's been here before. Best Thumbnail Award. Thank you, sir. Welcome. We have Richard Embry, Forest Pub. What's up, Richard? How you doing, man? And speaking of Richard, he's going to have his Blood and Sword 2 launch on Friday the 13th on Katie Did's channel. So if you guys have a chance, go check that out. That's going to be a lot of fun, too. We have Kick Cynic. Hello, Kick Cynic. Nice to meet you, brother. Welcome here. Well, I didn't meet you, but nice for you to be here. Thank you. We have Skeleton Core Comics. He's a legend. Thank you, Skeleton, for being here.
Mm-hmm.
We have Tenkage. I don't think you've been here either before, Tenkage, so welcome.
Hi, Tenkage.
Is he on your stream?
He's in the chat. Yeah, we did a review together with Billy Bobsack and Tenkage for the Rook Exodus comic book.
Is it Tenkage? And I just said 10K.
Yes, and it's brilliant. It's gonna be clipped,
Oh my god, Patrick does not speak Japanese.
To be fair, I think it's a common pronunciation.
Tenkage. Okay, now I see it. We got Belmont Press Comics. What's up, Belmont? You reached 5K. Congratulations, man. That's awesome. Fantastic. Pencils Down reached over 5K. It reached their mark there. So it's another big old win for good old CG. Fantastic. We've got Katie Did. She says, hello. Hello, Katie. How are you? Katie, are you saying hello to like me and Frederick or to Aaron? Or all of us.
Well, you notice she didn't like single out my name, so she's saying hello to you guys just to snub me. That's what she does. Just,
Here's Aaron. There we are. That's awesome. Nice. You got to get yourself a little picture, Aaron. So it's like your Empire Comics picture right there.
I know. I got to do so. I got to get caught up.
We got Catalyst Vault. Welcome back, brother. Thank you. Thank you for being here. The Squid. It's been a while. I feel like it's been a couple weeks. Thank you, sir. Welcome. We got a Toy Fanboy. Welcome. Hail Commandos in chat. Yes, sir. Hello. Let's see here. And Sleeping Psychopathy. It's a Lopez. Welcome, Sleeping Psychopathy. And that is everybody. Okay. All right. Now on to the main event, folks. Let me present this here. Thank you for being patient, Aaron.
Sure.
The
chat is vitally important.
Do you want me to play the trailer first? Or you want to talk first?
You can go ahead and play the trailer if you want.
All right. Let's do that. There. Fantastic. Was that a Jimmy Reyes trailer?
No, it was actually Phil Diaz.
Really? Oh wow.
For me. Yeah, I was really in a bind because my guy that normally does it takes about 3 months, and I needed it in like in a week, and so I had Phil on my show, and he had showed me a trailer that he did for his campaign, and I was like, dude, you do these? And he's like, yeah. I go, can you do one in a week? And he said, yeah. So I sent him a little bit of I sent him some artwork and the script, and then he did everything else and picked the music and everything, and it just turned out great. So
yeah,
and he was cheaper than my other guy that I normally use. So it worked out better on all fronts. So.
Yeah. Other guy. He's looking at this like,
Yeah. The other guy is like, hey, wait a minute.
You're right.
No. Well, yeah,
This is the guy that Aaron told you not to worry about, other guy.
Yeah. That's exactly right. Yeah. So the campaign has, it's 64 pages. And so it's basic, what you consider graphic novel size.
Mhm.
And this is the third installment, of course. And so the Wraith and Esther go back east to a small town that the Wraith has some history in as like a 12 or 13-year-old kid. And he had come in contact with the Headless Horseman and a witch and some other things that were going on in this town back when he was a kid. And they thought that that this had been taken care of. And so he goes back sort of just to check. He has this kind of impulse, like, we need to go back there and make sure everything is cool. And it's not cool. So there's some villains from his past as well, and all involved in this. And I don't want to give too much away, but basically he and Esther have to face off against the Headless Horseman and this red-haired witch right there. And there's another mysterious villain from his past. So we get a little bit more of his origin. We get a little bit more
3
backstory.
villains.
Yeah. So it's fairly in depth. So I think it'll be a good healthy read. And so I think everybody if you're a Wraith fan, I think you're really going to enjoy it. So we have the 4 cover options there, and this is a painted cover by the last one by Chris Stevens, who's a Marvel DC cover artist, and he just did a fantastic job. Of course, the other ones were by me, but this is kind of a 1972-ish Marvel retro cover that I've done on every one of my campaigns without the intention of actually doing it. And then I kind of looked back and went, my gosh, I guess I have to keep doing it. So I did the box covers. And then, of course, the one before this is the EC variant.
Yeah.
From love those designs.
Homage. Thank you. Paying homage to the 50s, horror comics of EC. So there's a wide variety here for everybody in terms of, cover art. And then, of course, that's the regular standard version.
Great horse drawing as well. Did you?
Yes.
Do you have a lot of experience drawing horses, or did you study them in particular?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I've done a lot of comics or illustrations with horses in them, but I have periodically over time, and so I'm to a point now where I don't really pull reference that often on the horses because I pretty much got the anatomy figured out, but usually just on the head, to kind of get the head right. I'll take a look at a photo or something. But you generally don't find horses in action poses when you're looking for photos. So you kind of have to use your imagination a little bit. And thank you, Katie. Like I said, that was Phil's doing, but I'm glad you like it. And Simon Bisley told me, he goes, if you're doing horses, he goes, pull polo reference. He goes, because that's where you'll get action shots of horses. Wow. I thought, well, that's a good idea.
Huh. So, that's a hot tip.
Yeah, it is. There you go. Polo reference.
Skeleton Core says, Patrick, pin the Wraith 3 link. As if I know how to do that, Skeleton Core. I don't know how to internet like that. How do I do that?
Don't you have some wrenches?
Pin it to the... I see.
I could probably...
Hold on. Delete pin. No, put user in timeout. That's not what I want to do. Look, you know what?
You're worse than I am. You have no excuse. You're young. You have no excuse, man.
Aaron, I don't know. This whole thing, I'm not good at the internet, and everybody makes fun of me.
Demand your wrenches to post the link.
That's what I'm going to do. Mr. Self-Destruct, somewhere, somehow, you'll be nursing your hangover, throwing some thumbnails together, and also posting Aaron's link.
There you go. Thank you, Mr.
3 minutes.
I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Self-Destruct. Yeah, everybody's saying that you're well, not everybody, but a toy fanboy saying your horses are the best in CG. even better than John Malin's.
Well, I leave that for you guys to decide. I don't want to make John feel bad. So, I just let
You don't want revenge after he took the cake on your guys' graybeards?
Well, that now if you're talking about the recent episode that he was on,
Yeah.
There's some debating on whether or not he won that or not, but we like to make our guests feel welcome. So,
The Squid says there's a way to pin a chat. Thanks, Squid. I appreciate the advice on how to do it. Thanks, brother.
Yeah.
I looked for it, but it's not like in the immediate menu of the message. So
I don't know how to do it. I don't even know what that means. It's like I just have my wrenches do it, or I do it myself. I type it in there and post.
Toy fanboy, you deserve a link. I'm gonna give you a link in a second, but so let me let Aaron talk about his comic while I figure out how to give you a link. Let's stop
Let's go right here. We've got some pages. I finally got some pages up on the campaign. This was an interesting launch for me because I was still fulfilling Kit Carter, and I usually don't like to launch a campaign when I'm not finished with the previous, but I didn't want to go too far close to the holidays, and I just got into that situation where I had to do it. So I didn't have any artwork up other than the covers, and so I'm finally, just a couple of days ago, was able to put up the first 3 pages in black and white, and obviously they will be in color. Who's my colorist? I forgot his name. Isn't that horrible?
John Smith.
Yeah, good old John Smith will be coloring this book, and we're really excited about it.
I thought it was a trick question because I'm looking at a black and white image. Who's the colorist? There is no colorist.
It's not Gabe El Taib. That was
no. It's Jason Wright. See, I knew it'd come to me if I hung on to it long enough.
Jason's like, what the heck, Aaron?
Yeah, I know. It's terrible. But yeah, no, he's really, really good. He's coloring Fearsome over David Williams right now. That's on Ethan's Fearsome book. David's doing the artwork, and the colors are fantastic. And so I was like, I got to get somebody good to color this. And so I contacted him, and after I thought about, oh my gosh, this guy's going to cost me money, but it'll be worth it. So it opens up. That very first panel there across the top is actually the opening shot of the Disney film Legend of Sleepy Hollow, the animated version.
Oh, that's awesome.
The houses are a little different because the time frame's different. Obviously, this is late 1800s, and the one they did was I think early 1700s. So, but anyway, it's the opening shot. I thought that'd be kind of fun to do that. So,
yeah.
And we introduce at least some of our villains, the witch here. And then you go to the next page, she hears the creak in the door. Then this guy, who is briefly set up in Wraith of God Blood Hunters, he went and menaced the sheriff for 2 pages in Blood Hunters. And so now we're going to learn more about who this guy is. And so he's involved in this. And then we have a little showdown between these two here to open the comic. So this is the scene I'm working on right now. And I should get the colors over to Jason here by hopefully Monday. I want to get 6 pages done and then ship those over to him. And then I'll start posting color pages on here. And then I'll feel like I'm actually caught up and rolling with the campaign. But anyway, so there's a lot of backstory in this, not in the sense that, there's 20 pages of boring backstory, but there's a lot of information we get about the Wraith's past in this. And you got a partial origin in the first issue. And then we just the second issue with the Vampire Blood Hunters was just kind of a straight action adventure story where we didn't get a lot of backstory or information. And now we're going to get some more as we flesh out these characters a little bit more. So I don't want to say it's a must read, but it's a must read.
It's a must read. Aaron, you're one of the 2 people, and you can correct me if I'm talking out of line here, but you're one of the 2 people in Comicsgate and in comics in general that I've, seen. I mean, obviously you've seen probably thousands of times more comics than I have, but you're one of the 2 people in Comicsgate at the very least who has, how would I put it?
Been around a while.
Well, no. Admitted in his comic, not admitted, but shown in his comic that God is real, and have him, communicate with the main character.
Yeah, well, it's I mean, I am a Christian, and
Mm-hmm.
I've always kind of struggled with, what I should be doing, and that was really kind of the impetus for the story to the first issue, is kind of, Esther's struggle is like, is she in God's will? Is she doing what she's supposed to be doing? And that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of a reflection of things that I go through, and maybe a lot of other guys do. Um, you know, should I be drawing monsters? Should I be drawing this violent stuff? And it's kind of like, so you try to, or at least I try to incorporate my beliefs, not in a way that I'm going to be preachy or trying to tell you what you should think or believe, but to actually have authentic characters that represent my beliefs in the story. And then they act accordingly based on those beliefs. So hopefully, I mean, the reaction I've got from people, I haven't anybody said, "Oh my gosh, this book is so preachy," or, this is a Christian comic or whatever. It's a comic book that has Christian characters in it. And that's kind of how I like to handle it, because then it feels authentic
Mm-hmm.
and natural, and it doesn't feel like I'm sitting here, preaching to somebody, or, and so I try to do that. I did that in Garbage Man. I didn't think I'd get away with it in Garbage Man at DC, but no one was really paying attention to what I was doing. So they didn't really care, because it was a creator owned project anyway. So, or partially creator owned it at the time. And so I just kind of worked in the Reverend, who's a Christian character in that story, but no one else is, right? And so he just acted like I felt the guy in his position would act. And so then you got this authentic character who just happens to be a Christian. But it's always important to me to put some sort of moral in the story, there's some point to the story, right? Someone's learning something, and hopefully it's something moral that improves them as a person and as a character. And those are always, when I'm writing a story, the first thing I'm trying to think of is, think of the ending. What's going to be this big payoff? Okay. And then what are these characters, what's the function of this story? Why does this story exist? It could be just, oh, we're going to have a fight scene and the good guy wins and the bad guy loses, the end. But I prefer to have something with a little bit more meaning to it, so that the characters walk away with something and some growth, and that hopefully, the readers look at it and makes them think a little bit,
Yeah.
So that's kind of been my approach when I finally gained this 100% of independence, where I don't have to worry about whether DC or Marvel says, "Oh, you can't do that," or "You can't do that." And I think I have reached kind of this formula, like I said, where I can include this sort of moral, storyline and characters without people feeling like that, they're getting preached to or something. It's there if you want it. If you don't, you just accept it as that's the way the character exists and acts in the story, and then you just move on. So that's kind of been my approach to these things. I just, anybody that has any sort of religious beliefs, it's more, it's who you are. It's not just something that you practice. I mean, it is for some people, but it's who I am. And so it's like, I need to include that stuff in my stories because it's important to me, but it's also important to me not to alienate readers that want an adventure story. So you figure out a way you can do it and, maybe satisfy 2 audiences at the same time.
Well, you do it fantastically.
Thank you.
A toy fanboy says, "I got mad links if you need wrench help," and I gave him a wrench, and then here he is. Stop horsing around and back Wraith of God 3 by Aaron Lopresti.
There you go. Thank
Amazing.
you, fanboy. Appreciate it.
Thank you, a toy fanboy. Use this wrench wisely. You better not be posting things about how Pearl Jam's a good band. I swear to you, I will remove that wrench. Let's see. Don't worry, Aaron. John won't let John feel bad.
That's true. He won't. We have some pretty crazy characters in this this movement, this Comicsgate movement. It's pretty fun.
I feel like at this point we got to have a horse off. We've got to, like, it's got to be. I mean, maybe it could be on Graybeards, maybe it could be somewhere else, but I need to. The people want to know who can draw the best horse. So, you know, I'm gonna. You know what? I'm taking this upon myself. I'm getting this going. Other people got the Comicsgate Awards going, and I was sitting on my butt doing nothing. So I'm gonna get I want to have the horse off, the great horse off of 2025.
There you go.
It's gonna be a thing.
Giving out the horsey award.
All right. Well, I'm going to start horsing around right now.
Mhm.
I'll even draw a horse. Actually, Aaron, I've got something to show you later, so don't let me forget.
Okay.
Randy Siplin says, "Hail Commandos, hail chat, hail brother. Thank you for coming here." Wow. Those inks are. Do you you can hear the F word, right, Aaron? I don't want to offend your.
Yeah.
I'm messing around.
Go ahead, do your thing.
Wow. Those inks are fucking awesome. Yes, they are. You ink yourself, correct, Aaron?
Yeah. Now in Kit Carter, I hired Matt Ryan to ink Kit Carter, and he's worked with me at DC, Marvel, CrossGen. Probably my favorite inker, him and Danny Mickey. Matt was in between gigs, and I asked him if he wanted to do it, and he said, yeah. And so the goal
he's still
was
over there, you're saying?
Well, he's I don't know if I should out him or not, but I mean, he's another Christian conservative. So he has the same concerns about mainstream comics that a lot of us have. And so he was getting less and less work. And that's not just, there's a lot of guys. I mean, I brought up Danny Mickey, and I mean, Danny told me San Diego, I think it was 2 years ago now, that, if it wasn't for Ivan Rice asking for him to ink him on Aquaman or whatever it was that they were working on, he said, I wouldn't even have a job. And I was like, you can't believe it. What happens is we get these, the page rates people get over time, they build up and they build up and they get fairly high. And then the industry starts to crash. We can discuss reasons about why that's happening, but it is happening. And so your sales are down, and now suddenly Marvel and DC, they don't want to pay those rates anymore. So they start going for younger, less experienced artists. And then guys that are making these huge pay rates, no matter how incredibly talented they are. I mean, Danny's probably considered the number one inker in comics, right? And so then suddenly they're not getting the work they used to get because they're cutting the budgets, and you've got a new wave of editors in there that maybe don't know you or don't respect you like the previous regime did. And so anyway, all that to say that Matt was kind of in one of those situations where he didn't have any work. And so, which was perfect for me. And, I paid him his page rate that he would get, at DC or Marvel. And so, there was no reason for him not to do it. And so I hired him to hopefully get Kit Carter out faster. And of course, it didn't end up working out that way. I think Kit Carter was the longest campaign I have done to get fulfilled because we had printing problems. The coloring took longer than I'd anticipated. And so it just ended up, I did all these things to try and get the book out like in 6 months, right? And it ended up being like 10 or 11 months before the things finally got shipped out. But yeah, to answer your question, that's a pretty long answer, but to answer your question, I do all my own inking, but on Kit Carter, I did have Matt Ryan ink the interiors of that. And he's fantastic. The book looks great. And I just thought he's a slicker inker than I am. And I just thought it would look nicer with Kit Carter, the subject matter. And I think it did. I think the book, I'm really, really pleased with how the book looks. And that's in no small part to Matt's inks and Kelsey's colors.
Yeah, Kelsey's colors are fantastic on that. Alpha Channel says, "Lol, Jesus and the Allfather are main characters in the Secret Wars ripoff I'm writing right now."
There you go. All right.
Yes. The Allfather, like Odin, hopefully, because Odin was he was one of the Nephilim offspring. He's a demon offspring. You gotta put him. He belongs in hell. Chuck Reardon says the fact Lopez is here is proof PQ. Don't capitalize PQ. We talked about this last episode. I'm sorry, Aaron, that you have to hear that, but I'm glad you had to see it. Is proof PQ spares no expense bribing those he can afford to show up here. Hail Commandos. Hail Chuck Reardon. Thank you.
I'm still waiting for my check.
It's gonna clear. I sent it in the mail. ID Crisis Design says rad. The Old Testament. Read the Old Testament. Pretty violent.
It is.
Sure
if I'm illustrating Bible stories, which I haven't done it, but I kind of want to, like David versus Goliath, things like that. There's a lot of high end adventure stories in the Old Testament. So yeah, I do agree with him. That's what I kind of look at it, and I've always felt that, although I do have a very guilty conscience, and I'm always thinking about these things, but I've always kind of justified the violence as like, you can't have any real human drama without the threat of violence, violence or the threat of violence. I mean, if you're doing something action adventure, if you're just doing, romance or something like that, obviously you can have drama without violence. But if you're doing heroes and, things like that, it's like, you got to have violence, and you got to have the threat of violence for them to overcome. And you got to have bad guys that are really bad. So, your good guys can be really good. And that's kind of how I've always sort of looked at it.
Mm-hmm. And violence, to a degree, if you think about it, I mean, it's the will enacted physically with no bounds of civility. So it's like, if you want to do something and you don't really care about what other people think about you, you resort to violence to get what you want.
Right. And, and I try not to get too gory in this. I mean, there was a fair amount of bloodletting in the first issues of Wraith of God. I don't know that this particular issue, as I'm thinking, I don't think there's any blood in this at all, but I think it will be the scariest one of the three that I've written. So it just there's something really creepy about the Headless Horseman. And, I think back to Tim Burton's version with Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
I mean, that was violent. Okay. But it was also really sort of creepy and scary. When you start involving witches and guys without heads walking around, and it gets, and everything's at night, and it's just, this is a spooky story. I think people I think you'll like it. I think you will.
Survive Infinity says, hail Comicsgate. Welcome, Survive Infinity. Welcome for being here, dude. Thank you for being here. Excuse me. Katie says, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to Patrick's channel for more CG Commandos every week. That's right, folks. Hit the like button, please. I appreciate it. Subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Skeleton Core, I'm going to kick you, brother. I'm going to ban you from I can do that. That's the one thing I actually know how to do is put user in timeout or ban user and delete their comments.
These guys,
I said no Pearl Jam positive comments. I already said that. Belmont Press says, hey, Toy Fanboy. All right. I'm sorry. Let's, oh, what do you mean? Oh, yeah. I'm going to get the, God, you guys. All right. I'll say it so it can be clipped by Katie and used against me for the future. I am going to get the horse off PQ 2024. Yeah. Okay. And I already told you, don't capitalize PQ. Make it happen, Patrick. Oh my God. See, I'm sorry, Aaron. I have a really aggressive chat. They make fun of me all the time, and I gotta like.
I like that you're more offended about the capitalization of your letters than the horse allusions.
It's bad grammar, dude. I can't stand bad grammar.
No, I'm constantly getting attacked on graybeards. I know exactly the feelings, so don't apologize. Do what you got to do. Keep these guys under control.
Sometimes I just feel like I wish I had a whip or something that I could. Anyway, I'm not going to finish that sentence. So Toy Fanboy says 1968, a go-go dancer is bitten by a vampire and goes on a quest full of friendship and revenge in Fembat by Apex Comics. Aaron, you guys were talking about Dan Lawless's piece about Fembat the other day, weren't you?
Yeah, he brought that up. I didn't know what it was, and he had brought it up on Graybeard's, like the cover or something he did for it. And yes, we got him a little bit of pub there on Graybeards. I haven't looked at the campaign yet, but it looks pretty entertaining from what I
Yeah.
saw.
We just had Apex on a couple weeks. Was it 2 weeks ago? Last week was, I don't remember. It all goes by so quickly these days. Randy Siplin says he's a great inker. I remember his inks on your Justice League work.
He is. He's fantastic, and he's really, really not recognized like he should be. Probably because he spent most of his career working with me. But that was the hardest. I would always get. I never got like the super grade A assignments, other than probably Planet Hulk. I was always sort of like B plus. I was the guy doing, Ms. Marvel or one of the secondary X-Men books and that type of thing. But I spent more time searching out stuff I wanted to do rather than stuff that I thought might be higher profile. And so Matt inked me on a ton of stuff, but never got the recognition I think he deserved, because he's really, really good.
Alpha Channel says, gotta run out. Have a good night. Love you guys. Thanks, Alpha Channel, for stopping in, man. No, it's okay. You don't need to. They've taken that from us. You can tell a man that you love him. It's not weird. God, every time I say anything, they're gonna clip. See, yeah, they're gonna clip this, and they're gonna make it.
Katie Did's the one you got to watch for.
I know.
She acts like she's your buddy, but then you watch out for her.
Well, I've tried to make her say a few words in the past, like omnibus, and I think she's got one out for me now, because I think we'll find out. Grim Jim, what's up, brother? Nice, long time no see, man. Thanks for coming back. You're in Johnny's chat. I'm like, where's Grim Jim in the Commandos chat? I sound like Don Knott there. I wish Grim Jam would come back to the Commandos chat. I'm not even... Mr. Self-Destruct, I love you, but I'm not going to read that. And it wasn't gay for me to say that I loved him, just for the record.
Oh, what? See, she always acts like I'm oppressing her or something, but it's really her that's oppressing me. I'm going to show up on her show, and she's not going to expect it. And we'll see how she treats me when I get on the show.
You should do that. That'd be amazing. Patrick was more offended at the Pearl Jam comment than the horse illusions. Yes, I was, because one is disgusting and the other is like just reprehensible, and it shouldn't be in existence on the planet. And I'm talking about Pearl Jam when I say that. I'm a dyslexic duck. I can't help it. Yay, Fembat. Yes. PQ really loves the horses, but hates the bad grammar. He will go... Oh my God. No, you're not getting that one out of me. If it was a super chat, you would, but I don't get super chat.
Whatever you do, chat, don't write positive stuff about Pearl Jam with bad grammar.
I see what you're doing there, Frederick. I see what you're doing, and it's noted.
I'm warning them. You will be reprimanded.
Yeah, we're going to be discussing this in the debrief. PQ's... Well, back to the horse gets it. Oh my God. We'll talk about Minotaur in a second. I'm going to save that comment for later. General Piggy, what's up, man? Thanks for coming in, dude. Mighty Magic, hello. He says, hail chat. Welcome, Mighty Magic. Here's Johnny. Katie just clips what you give her. I know. That's the beauty of what she does. If we just stopped talking, she would have nothing to use against us. But Here we are. Aaron, I shower you with... Hold on. Aaron, I shower you with love every week.
See what it is she really likes Dan Lawless. And then I sort of, she's heaping praise on Dan all the time. And then I'm kind of like, hey, how about a little bit for the host of the show? And then she'll, acquiesce and say some nice things about me. But I don't know that it's really genuine. I know that she loves Dan Lawless, but we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, when I show up on her show, we'll see how she treats me.
Yeah. It'll all come due. Grim Jim says, I have to punish people in the morning, unfortunately. Do more weekend stuff and I can stay up. This makes it sound like Grim Jim's job is like he's in charge of the electric chair. You know what I mean? And it's 7 a.m. every morning in England. He's got to turn the Never mind. All right. I thought that joke would be funnier. True Chuck says Katie did. Pretty good. Just got back from. Okay, he's talking to Mighty Magic. I'm sorry. Sleeping Psychopathy says this is always a weird show to jump in on. Is that a compliment?
I don't know.
Sounds like one.
I'm new here, so I'm not taking any blame for that.
No, it's not your fault. It's entirely my fault, and maybe Frederick's. But since nobody else is here, it's all probably mostly.
Listen, I'm the lower rank here, so I'll take all the blame.
Yeah, that's right. I'm the one spitting the orders here. It's like she's in the room, says Crimson. Ha, you ain't country enough. Look, okay, wait a minute. I'm gonna get your accent down. Oh yeah, I talked to Katie all the time.
Katie talk, so she's got that country twang.
Well, Katie's got like a slight Southern accent. I'm trying to do it right now. It's not as heavy as like Mandy Summers. She talks with a real heavy Southern accent. You know what I mean? Okay. So like she said, the word him for her would be him.
Him.
Like it's 2 syllables now.
Right. Him.
You know what I'm saying? Exact. Him.
And how would she pronounce like omnibus?
How would Mandy pronounce it? Or how would Katie pronounce it?
Katie
would pronounce it like this. You guys, this ain't hooked on phonics. That's what she would say. It's too much. Katie, you don't have that much of an accent as you might think you do. Like Dan is an amazing artist. That's Katie right there. If it was Mandy, it'd be Dan is an amazing artist. It's, you know what I mean? Like Katie's got a kind of a slight Southern accent. You wouldn't notice it at first.
I'm more prepared now.
Yeah. She's gonna call you like honey or sweetie or things like that. So just so you know, prepare she butters you up. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
She's still mad at me for not being on the show on Monday. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've got my second co-host here, Dr. Ben. What's up, Doctor?
I got I was having some technical difficulties. I got these new beverages. I don't know if you can read it. It's 3D. These beverages are 3D beverages.
Oh,
messing me up a little bit.
Like an energy drink, or is it like one of those mushroom CBD mixes?
I believe it's to help you be more recognized by the computer when you're being put into like the 3D assets. That's one of the things I've been working on with my stuff. So
to help you materialize.
Exactly. See, as you can see, I'm already kind of like in and out.
Very much like Bigfoot. Not a clear picture. Kind of there, and then you're not there, and then you're there.
Yeah.
Exactly. Also, good to meet you, Mr. Lopresti, sir.
Were you on Ethan's art auction thing?
Yes, I was.
Last week. There you go. Okay. Good to meet you, I guess, officially here. I don't know that we spoke while we were on that live stream, but
yeah, they kind of rushed me in and out. It was good. That was a fun show. So
you sold something on the third one, dude. You sold something. That was good.
Oh yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, the Red Room piece. Yeah. ID Crisis says Dan is an amazing artist. He sure is. He's really good at drawing women, but everybody knows that already. Just finished Space Marine 2, Mighty Magic. How was that? Is it worth it? Is it worth $60? That's the question I want to know. Sleeping Psychopathy. If Patrick could stop talking, he wouldn't be dressed in a kicky beret. Are you saying like kitschy? Is that what you were trying to say?
Or kinky, maybe?
It's not kinky, that's for sure. It's a Soviet beret. So, Sleeping Psychopathy, you keep this up, you'll be fed to dog. You will go to Gulag, where you belong. You will mine for coal for Soviet Union. All right. She says my heart. Okay, so when Katie says my heart, Aaron, what she's trying to say is, I think this is so funny that I can't use words to express that I think this is so funny. So
I see.
My heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's southern jargon there.
Okay.
Jeremy Spoken. What does that mean, Dr. Ben?
Isn't that you said you wanted to hear Pearl Jam lyrics?
Oh my God.
Right?
3. You just came on, but
yeah.
And I said I wouldn't kick you again, but
I didn't know you were so into Pearl Jam. That's cool. I'm not a big Pearl Jam guy myself, but
You know, Dr. Ben, you've backed my comic. I know you have. And what's going to happen is I'm going to come to your home now that I know your address. I'm going to tie you down and I'm going to make you listen to all 6 Soundgarden albums
I have some.
on repeat for the weekend. All right. So you better not. You better stop.
I have people watching the P.O. box. It's okay.
The P.O. box. Mighty Magic says, whose piece is this? This is Aaron Lopresti's, Mighty. It's right here.
Page 2 from Wraith of God #3.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
This is a member of the Thule Society. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. Aaron, do you even know what the Thule Society is?
No, but I'm just going along for the
Yeah,
ride.
that's good for you. It's a
Jim
weird
Birch
German.
Society or something.
Nah, they're like weird Satanists. Anyway,
Jim Birch?
Sir Ubison says Katie did kennel. Sir Ubison, that's strike 1, brother. That's strike 1. You get 3 strikes on my channel, and I'm loath to hand out strikes. I'm a very free speech guy, but if you start harassing people in my chat or on my panel, doesn't work for me. Chuck Reardon says Aaron disavows any affiliation. Whoops, Aaron disavows any affiliation with the poor jokes and horse love of the host.
Exactly. I disavow.
I probably should have read that before like reading it out loud. Where did Patrick go? I can only hear Mandy. Katie's voice is soft or something. I know it's hard for me to do because it's like I've never. Yes, Mandy does have the thickest, and we're gonna leave it at that. And Carol's fault said, and Shane would say Hilm. Yes, Shane's got a weird. It's like a weird, like it's almost like Southern Missouri, but like upper. Southern area. Well, because in Southern Missouri, they do talk like that. They go, Hilm, or there's like the way that Shane talks where he like doesn't speak correctly. That's what they do. Artist. There you go. That's what.
Arties.
Oh, no, miniatures. That was my favorite one. Wodenshot posted that one time because he's talking about his, his like Rex 232 and the statues he's got in his campaign. And he says miniatures, and it was MINECHERS. Miniatures.
Miniatures.
I was dying. Oh, see, Sir Ubasan, he really wants Katie to say hello to him. And there she did. Katie, is he a cool guy? A Toy Fedra says 3D like in a Rippaverse book. Yeah, well, yeah. Whoa.
I've never read any of those.
You know what? I don't know that reading would be the thing that you would say after having looked at them. I don't know that's the word you would use. Viewing, more like. Observing, I think is the best way to put it.
Only haters read Rippaverse books.
I mean, at this point, it's like, okay, I'll be honest with you guys here, and Aaron's here too. I don't want to make things awkward for him or like bring all this drama in here. It's kind of old at this point. The people who have their opinions on it, and the people who don't agree with the correct opinion are moving on. And so let's just move on, shall we? It's not good.
Right opinion.
End of story. Let's just, I would say though, Aaron, if you were to read any of them, go ahead and read Alpha Core. That's by Chuck Dixon and Joe Bennett, and it's pretty good. I would say it's the best of the ones that I've read. So, if you're gonna read any of them, that's the one.
Yeah, I don't really read comics that much anymore. I got stacks of comics that I haven't read that I bought, and I don't know what it is. I mean, as a young guy, and even into my 20s, in the mid to late 80s, I read. I got back into comics. I left comics when I was about 16, and then came back into them in college, and was read them pretty regularly. But I've just got to a point where I always feel like I should be doing something, and sitting down and reading a comic to me is not doing something productive. It's just kind of, well, I don't want to say wasting time, but it's kind of relaxed time. And I keep thinking, I should be working on that page, or I should be cleaning up this mess or that I made or whatever. And so I don't have that sort of set aside time where I would, sit and read comics, and maybe that may be because I mean such an unstructured environment in crowdfunding, where even when I was working for Marvel or DC, I knew I had X amount of pages I had to do a week. And if you got, if I do a page a day or whatever, when I got that page done, then I had free time, but now I always feel like I'm behind. And so like, there is no free time, right? Well, I finished this page today. Well, then you should start the next one,
Mhm.
So, I guess all that to say, I probably won't be reading any Rippaverse comics anytime soon.
Aaron, you don't feel like, in regards to that, you don't feel like, and I know, you're a veteran, so maybe you don't feel like that, but like that you could be looking at something that would like elevate your artwork.
I'm not saying I don't look.
You don't read. I see. Okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, reading is.
But
yeah, I mean, I buy books that if someone does some artwork that I really, really like, I'll buy the book. And that doesn't necessarily mean I'll read it. I'll flip through it and look at the art, and sometimes I read it, sometimes I don't. But I've always been like that. I wouldn't buy a comic book, even as a kid, if I didn't like the artwork in it. And because that's half the battle,
Yeah.
I want the story to be good, but I don't want crappy art in there, even if the story's good. And so it always had to meet my visual expectations before I would plop down my quarter or whatever it was back then.
A quarter, he says. Oh man, it's like $5.95 these days. Sleeping Psychopathy says Aaron has the look of a man that's just been cornered at a convention. He can leave whenever he wants, Sleeping Psychopathy. Okay, the check won't clear. That's all.
Yeah, that's right. I'm good for an hour and a half to 2 hours max, and then it's I'm done. But so
that's
far
okay.
so good.
So who's the real Southern Taco Bell? What do you mean by that? Because that could mean a million different things, and I don't want to delve into that. Sir Uberson says, "Hey, Katie, can you please unban me from your chat on your live streams? I miss being able to chat." So here it is. Here it all comes out right here. Sir Uberson begging at the feet of Katie Did to be back in her chat.
That begs the question: what did you do to get banned?
Yes, Sir Uberson. Here's what I think. This is Katie. What you should do this. You should do this. You should agree with what I'm about to say here. What you should, this sounded so narcissistic. What you should do is force him to say, like, to admit what he did and apologize for it on my stream. And then if he doesn't lie about that, like if he's upfront about it, then you should add him back in. But if it's a lie, if it's scurrilous rumors, then you should not unban him. Sir Uberson, you're like, I'm sorry, I'm being so aggressive towards you, but I feel like you came into my chat with what's the word? Ulterior motives. That's 2 words. Squid, you are the Taco Bell of the ball. Okay, good. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. This is how a lot of us feel. Unless it means Katie's hungry, she's just calling dibs. Yes, Katie. Yes. I know you're still mad at me for not being on the show.
I'll be right back. Okay. Excuse me.
All right. Katie, admit it to everybody, to the chat, to everybody here that you're mad at me for not being on the show on Monday. I'm sorry, but I had to go to a very important doctor's appointment. Okay. My life must be back in order. It's been out of order for 3 years and I'm trying to get it back. Hail the God Emperor, Mighty Magic says. Is that, who's that? The God Emperor. Doom? You talking about Doom? Because I would say yes. Hail Doom. Sir Uberson, of course. Oh, okay. That was easy. I still want him to say what he did though. The Squid says, that reminds me, I have a Princess Belle shirt that says, my weekend is booked. It shows Belle reading a book. That's funny. That's actually really good. I love that kind of humor. The Emperor protects. Yes, he sure does. Oh, the God Emperor. You're talking about the God Emperor of mankind. I'm sorry. Duh. I'm stupid.
40K reference.
Yeah. I thought it might have been a reference to God Emperor Doom.
Well, that's what I thought at first as well.
Yeah. Which I appreciate. Doom. I mean, if Doom was in real life, I would 100% be in his military and be fighting for him to take over the world. What do you think about that, Aaron?
About who? Doom?
About like if Dr. Doom was real, I would be fighting in his army for Doom to take over the world. I'm not saying the Fantastic Four are real. I'm just saying Doctor Doom is real. Only Doctor Doom is real.
Well, you know what they say? They say that the best sort of government is a benevolent dictatorship. The problem is there's no benevolent dictators. So, does Doctor Doom does he really have the best interests of his subjects in Latveria? Or, is he just power mad? I mean, we don't really get a good sense of how, maybe I haven't read the FF close enough, especially the older stuff, but do we get a good sense that that he treats his people well? Because that would be the thing, right? If he's going to be a cool dictator, then maybe you fight on it, his side. But if he's not, you gotta. So, are there no other superheroes? There's just Doom on the planet, Doctor Doom. Is that what we're saying? Then you're going to get your butt kicked probably. So maybe you should team up with Doom. You're muted, General Q.
Thank you. Sorry. Yes, that's a great point. You would have to team up with him, otherwise you would be obliterated. You would be
right.
So,
what choice do you have at that?
Yeah. I don't know. The Lee Kirby run was kind of back and forth. In the beginning, it was like, he's a dictator who like forces at gunpoint all of his civilians to love him.
Yes.
And then as it progressed, somewhere along like half the way, the civilians were like, no, we actually really love Doom. Like we really like him. It was the comic where he goes to it's the Latvian embassy in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And that's if I'm not mistaken, that's the one where he's got that machine that he and Richards hook up to, and they have to like battle their wills against one another. And so Reed beats him by figuring out that Doom's only desire is to win. So like I think that's how it is. So Reed pretends like he's dead, and Doom is convinced by this because it's his greatest desire that he like, oh, I won, and then he like leaves and doesn't cause any problems for them. But in that comic, they made it seem like the Latvians were actually pretty happy about Doom. And then other writers have done him, like Chuck Dixon's Doom, The Emperor Returns. That series, it's like a 3 or 4 issue series, one of my favorite ever. That one, it's very obvious that the Latvian people love Doom. That he might be, a iron-fisted tyrant, but at the same time, he provides everything for them and makes their lives really fantastic.
That's kind of the vibe I got, is the people were okay with Doom being in charge, He just, so he treats his own people pretty well, but then he tries to destroy the rest of the planet. Very strange character.
Yes. Which actually, real quick, I wanted to ask you, who is your favorite Fantastic Four member? You cannot say She-Hulk.
The Thing, of
Okay.
course. But again, that's maybe from an artistic standpoint. But he's the closest thing to a monster, and I'm a monster guy. So, I mean, the Human Torch is kind of cool, but I thought the Thing was always the one for me. My favorite out of the 4. And
the chat wants to know. You won't find it if you scroll up, but they do want to know. This is what they think in their heads. If you will do a Thing commission for me for free. They said that in the chat at a certain point. I don't know where it is, but
that seems like a long shot, but you never know. You just never know what could happen.
It's just it's the chat who said it, so I figured I'd ask it for them.
That's sure.
Sleeping Psychopathy says, "Możesz próbować, towarzysz? Możesz próbować." What is
You're asking me? Was that Russian or something?
Yeah, it's Russian. Możesz próbować. He calls me comrade, but I don't know what "popravat" means. I don't know what that word. My vocabulary is it drips away as the days go on. My vocabulary is gone. Может быть, Sleeping Psychopathy. Я не знаю это, потому что я не знаю слово "popravat." Пропробовать. Oh, there it is. It's on the second O. My bad.
I always wonder when people put like those avatars in their pictures of somebody. Like, is that what she really looks like, or is that a like a clip from something else?
It looks like a clip from something else to me. I just assumed Sleeping Psychopathy was a dude. Are you a woman, Sleeping Psychopathy?
I think Sleeping Psychopathy is a woman.
Do I
That
have to
was my
start speaking
understanding.
with respect
I
now?
don't want to misgender anybody. I'm not coming on here to, misgender anyone.
Well, that's one of our big things here, Aaron, is the pronouns and the misgendering people. We're
Right.
so
I
sick
don't
of the
want to be
bigotry.
that guy. So I'm pretty certain that sleeping psychopathy is of the female persuasion.
Sleeping psychopathy is like who was that other person who nobody knew if it was actually an attractive woman or not?
Who's Pat from SNL?
No. This person's.
They didn't look at Pat as attractive.
No, it was a person in Comicsgate chats. Primarily, I'm pretty sure in Ethan's chat. It was. It's not my dark twisted faggotry, or it might be, but.
Oh yeah, well, I think that is
There
because
was
they were
one other person.
Hmm.
Anyway, see, the thing about being a woman in Comicsgate is like you either admit it to everybody and then everybody swarms you, or you like pretend maybe I am, maybe I'm not, and people are like, I don't know if I should jump on that. Mr. Self-Destruct says, my heart just about dude, this is amazing. Okay, wait a minute. My heart just about gave out. Golly, Patrick, why do you insist on picking on little old me? Fantastic, Mr. Self-Destruct. Thank you. I love the phonetic. Like, grammar's one thing. Grammar can go out the window if you're doing a phonetic message to me. I will read that 100%. That is the Thule, pronounced Tool. Is it pronounced Tool in German? Or are you just making a Tool band reference? I hate Tool too.
What?
I hate Tool. Tool sucks. They're off-brand. They're literally generic brand Soundgarden. They suck. A toy fanboy says, "PQ, don't call me daughter. Katie forced me to quote PJ." Okay. All right. Sorry. All right, Sir Ubasen, you received my apology. I'm sorry. There. Are you happy now? Oh my God, I'm so far behind. Yes, that's true. The squid, you're correct. Southern Missouri also pronounces the state as Missouri. That's right. They do. They say Missouri.
Now that I knew.
Mm.
Yeah. Missouri.
Can't read that.
Missouri.
Detail in the background. That's awesome. Yes, look at the detail in the background. That's awesome. Really makes a good setting. I wanted to comment too about the detail. Where is it? Second page here. You got this guy in the forefront here, so he obviously takes up the main focus, and then you have the general background of, I guess she's in a hut, I suppose.
Well, yeah, she's like in a tree. Like she has her little witch's hovel is built inside this kind of gnarly old tree. So that's where you have the vines or the branches and the roots growing around there.
But you see this in the doorway here. Aaron, you could have just left it blank, but he didn't. Look at what he did here. He drew all that in there.
Yeah, well,
Awesome. This is what the people yearn for. The children yearn for this.
They do. But see, here's the trick. You make the money shots really, really great. And then the panel stuff doesn't have to be as great because all they remember is those big single shots.
Yeah. Like panel 3 looks like garbage here.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? It's, it's hit or miss sometimes for me. So.
That's a joke. I'm just kidding. The squid says, sleeping psychopathy. The reason I have that shirt is because while in the Marines, I dared my friend to wear a Little Mermaid shirt. He agreed so long as I wore a Belle shirt. That's sick. And that also is a thing about the squid that I didn't know. Thank you for your service. Appreciate it, brother. Also, the Marines are awesome. The Air Force is not awesome. So if you guys are used to, work for the Air Force, don't tell me that. I'll make fun of you. Grim Jim, I think I've supported this one. Best double check. You should best double check because I think this is going to be your best one. I mean, I love the Headless Horseman, and I'm so excited to see what you do with him.
Yeah, thank you. It's weird when you do a book like this because I know where the series ends up. I know how it ends up, but how long you want to take to get there as well. How many different monsters do I want him to go through before we finally get to this, the final thing. So, every time I did one of these, I was like, okay, what am I going to do next? And I did Blood Hunters because I actually had written a short story featuring a Nosferatu type vampire. And I thought, well, you know what? Why don't I just expand that? And it sort of it's nothing like the short story at all, but that was the starting point. And for this one, I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I was like, ooh, should I do a mummy? What if I did some swamp creature? What, you know, and someone actually had suggested to me I should do the Headless Horseman. I started thinking about it, and I thought, well, how could I use the Headless Horseman? And then when I started coming up with ideas of how, well, this could actually tie into his past, and this story could, you know, be a lot deeper than just Monster of the Month kind of thing. And so it kind of fell into place pretty quickly, but it was off someone else's suggestion and me sitting around thinking about how I'd use it. That it so, and I'm a big Headless Horseman fan as well. I mean, Sleepy Hollow is one of my favorite short stories, and so it's kind of fun to take that on. But there's like a million, you know, it's vampires, werewolves. Then you start getting into the, you know, could I do a Frankenstein monster story? You know, that would be kind of cool, and you know, so it just but it happened to kind of fit where I was going with, you know, the background story and fleshing out the character and stuff. So that's what I landed on.
Yeah. Do you guys notice the difference? You guys in the panel, do you notice the difference when I talk like this as opposed to when I was just talking?
No.
You don't notice? Okay.
One sounds a little gayer, but the other.
Back on Mr. I'm so behind in the chat that I'm.
You know, if you didn't read all the chats, maybe someone would send you some super chats.
I am not monetized, so.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. You got
anything for.
Are you not up to 1,000 yet?
No, I just hit 700 actually today.
Well, congratulations on that.
I love this. Chuck Reardon says, I just scanned the whole chat. Nobody said anything about a commission.
Yeah, nothing about the thing. That's what I thought. I thought the whole thing was a scam.
It's there. Look again. The people were clamoring for you to give me a free commission.
Mm-hmm.
The haters must have deleted the
That's
chat,
what happened. You know what I think it is? I gave a Toy Fanboy a moderator wrench just now. I think he's going through and removing those chats. It was real though. Oh my gosh. All right, let me get caught up here. Dropping. You guys are so mean to me. God. Oh my God. Okay. Oh, hey, what's up, B.A. Turner? Wow, I was just so used to seeing things that are calling me gay and that I'm into horses that I just almost went over your chat there. What's up, B.A.? Marilyn Cookies, what's up? Happened to my chat asking about freak. See, thank you, Marilyn. See, I told you. It's like, thank you, Marilyn.
It's been her.
I appreciate it.
So apparently Marilyn's chat got deleted too, along with the other one about that.
Yeah, we both had. Well, I didn't ask for a free. I would never ask for a free commission, but
no, of course not.
Here we are. So real quick,
I have a rogue mod or something.
Yeah, it's here. I'm gonna take this down for just a second. See, Aaron, be like Oprah. You get a free commission, you get a free commission, and you get a free commission. Oh, you get a free commission and you get a free. That's what it is. Sorry.
Okay, I got you. Yeah. Took me a minute there, but I got it.
Hey, go back and read that out loud like a man, says Chuck Reardon. Wait, which one?
What the implication there is.
This one. I think this is the one he wants me to read. Patrick loves the horse money shots. Look, all right. Who does not love seeing a girthy, muscular stallion mounted by a man? Who doesn't? Anyway, people have been doing it for thousands of years. We introduced it to the Native Americans. They were like, how do you do this? Nobody? Oh my God. That was a Native American pun and nobody got it.
Yeah, because you said how, which is like saying hello.
Yeah.
That's the. Never mind. All right, tough crowd today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna go over real quick. I also have a campaign, and I want Aaron to look at what he sees here and just tear it apart like soft bread. Be harsh, be mean. I'm gonna show the trailer real quick. Phenomenal Tales #1, Minotaur. The next comic book in my Phenomenon comic magazine series, which is set in a post-apocalypse alternate universe Soviet Union, where the Soviet Union and the United States engaged in a nuclear war. Now there's horrible mutated rad monsters that roam the countryside. Here's the trailer.
Yeah.
Hot, I guess.
The old 90s tech is slowing you down.
Yeah. I got to unplug my VCR. Hold on a second. Oh my God. Come on. The trailer is embarrassing me in front of Lopez. This is ridiculous. Look, okay, you don't even need to see the trailer, all right? Look, you don't need
What kind
to
of
see it.
show are you running around?
It's, right, it's not important.
Oh, my goodness.
20 years after the world-shattering atomic war, the Soviet Union is locked tightly in a brutal border war with the People's Republic of China, with no end in sight. The carnage of conflict blankets the Mongolian countryside. For those of you who think that communists get along, they don't. Spoiler alert. But the Chinese are the least of the Red Army's concerns. Hideous, mutated monsters roam the countryside. No, I'm not talking about Chuck Reardon and Mr. Self-Destruct. Birthed from the radioactive fires of nuclear fallout, the Soviets that have survived their hellish assaults call them rad monsters, as they've been called before. Murder shrews, they've been called. Reports are spreading of a nightmarish creature, a legendary rad monster capable of wiping out an entire camp of fighting men in a single night. Intent on harnessing its lethal abilities for the war effort, Red Army Command dispatches their finest soldier to hunt down and capture the beast. Lieutenant Grigory Svidrigailov, better known by his comrades as Minotaur, readily accepts the task set before him. This is him right here. He's saying, "When do we get started?" A classic badass person line. But the holy Mongolian mountains holds a dark and terrible secret, one that you will uncover if you are to buy Phenomenal Tales #1. Like I said, this is the Phenomenal Tales series is like an offshoot series of my main comic. This one goes over origin stories of some the main characters in the ensemble cast that you find in Phenomenon, and it gives them background and it gives the universe background, so you guys kind of know what's been happening in Russia and across the world. It says it's 24 pages, but I did some editing. I was looking at it, and there's a little thing at the end, kind of a twist, if you will, that didn't hit as hard as I wanted it to. So now it's 26 pages. So now it hits hard. Yeah.
That's the beauty of crowdfunding. It's like, if you need to add a couple pages, guess what? You can do it.
Yes. And it's actually, this whole book is already done. I just got the final colored, chromatically enhanced pages from Peter Gilmore, who also did this beautiful cover you guys see before you. And oh shit, I don't have it with me, but I just got the proofs in, like the it's not lettered, but it was all the pages that I had at the time, which was 24 at the time. Printed off on a comic book. I was trying to see, the last time the thickness of the paper was too thick. This is my second campaign, Aaron, so I'm still figuring it out.
Mhm.
The thickness of the paper was too thick, so it made the book like bowed when you looked at it. Even if you sat it in a sleeve for, a bag and a board for, you could slam it down and sit it there for 3 days. It would still be bowed. So I'm trying to figure out the paper quality, but then also I wanted to see this artist here, Claudio Sepulveda. I think he's a little new to the actual size of printed comic books, because I think he works digitally, so he mostly does, I think, digital stuff. So I had to figure that out and see, what's the sizing here, how is this going to work, and kind of edit it on my own. So I'll grab it in a second to show you guys. It's beautiful, and Peter's cover it pops so beautifully in the real life version. Like, you think this is cool? It's way cooler in real life. And this here is Phenomenon Comic Magazine #1, my first comic, drawn by Tomas Kavash, and this is the cover by Jimmy Reyes, colored by Peter Gilmore. So this is this is your last chance to pick up Phenomenon Comic Magazine #1. I will no longer be printing it after this campaign. So get it while you can. Otherwise, you have to get it off eBay from somebody who thinks it's garbage and doesn't want it anymore. Anyway, we have two options here. We have Phenomenal Tales #1. I highly recommend getting this. If you're going to get anything, get this. Only $10 for the comic, $8 shipping in America, $30 shipping internationally. You guys know how that goes. It's not – I wish I could ship it anywhere for the same price, but it's just not feasible.
International postage is brutal.
Oh, it's just – yeah, it's murder.
That's true.
And murder not in the fun way.
What?
Anyway, we have Phenomenon Comic Magazine #1, the Wraith cover. So here it is, the cover C, essentially. This is your last chance to get this comic if you would like to get it. And if you want both of them, I've combined them in the Dvojnoy Specjalny, as it's known in Russian, the double special. You can get both of those. I've marked them down a bit, so I've marked them down by $3. So with the shipping in America, you'll be paying $35 for both books, which I think is before shipping what a lot of the big name comic book or Comicsgate artists sell for. So, if you want to get two books, they're right there. And I really highly recommend you guys, at the very least, if you get anything, get Phenomenal Tales #1, please. This is, in fact, Frederick and I were just talking about this before you came into the stream, Aaron, is that it's like you do one thing, Phenomenon Magazine #1, you do your second thing, and you're like, this is garbage compared to this. And every time you do something new, you look back on the last thing you did, and you're like,
Garbage.
Yep. That's got a whole career doing that.
I'm not trying to say to people that don't buy it because it's garbage. What I'm saying is, like, I look at what I've done before and I can see the mistakes that I made, and I have the humility to be like, okay, well, I want to do that again. So I got to admit to myself, I got to change this, do that. And Phenomenal Tales is it's an entirely different beast. Like I said, it's a story contained within itself. Phenomenon is a continuous story. It's not going to wrap itself up, and the story arcs and the character arcs are not going to wrap themselves up in one issue or 2 issues or 3 issues. It's essentially it's a 16-issue story. So get ready because it's going to be made. Flady, what's up, Flady? How you doing, man? He says, what page is this in the book? Looking forward to getting it. Last one was great. I think he was talking about your book, Aaron. I think that was page 2 or 3.
Yeah, the pages on my campaign is pages 1, 2, and 3 of the story. So the first 3. So
as I suspected, Patrick gonna get kicked from his own stream. Yeah, when my internet goes out, I literally do that to myself. Katie, please tell me you clipped that. Chuck Ridden, are you paying her? Oh, that's not good. When she says woo, Aaron, when she says woo, that's a problem.
It was trouble.
Yeah. Chuck, oh, you ain't gotta. Oh my God. Chuck, oh, you ain't gotta ask twice, darling. Clip, and snip.
Oh boy.
Oh my God. Why your internet is worse than mine? EVS will be happy to know Patrick loves the girthy stallions. I'm sure he ordered a few. You see, Aaron, you see what I have to deal with every Wednesday. I mean, today's Thursday, but
You don't
Well,
like
the fact that they're bringing the heat on you, it's not even your regular day.
I know. It's like maybe this is because it's not the regular day, and they're just mad about that.
Could be.
Did you ask Aaron his thought? I mean, I know you were talking to him about getting the horse off or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Did you ask him if he had who he thinks of or how he rates people in their ability to draw horses? Like,
well, I would assume, Aaron, correct me if I'm mistaken, but don't you think you're the best at drawing horses?
Sure. I mean, who's my category? Everybody or just
everybody in Comicsgate?
Oh, well, it's got to be me then, doesn't it?
And Frank Frazetta.
I haven't I mean, how many people have done horse comics?
Lots of people have drawn horses. You've drawn horses. John has drawn horses. Ethan's drawn horses. I'm sure I can find a Shane
girthy
picture.
Stallion. That's not exact. That's kind of more of a exaggerated.
It counts.
Well, could you compare? Or I guess that this would be a good question too. Is how could you compare? Like if someone's drawing like a realistic horse to say like one of the girthy stallions or something where it's more cartoony. Like, there's got to be a way to be able to compare them. Like,
well, it's like comparing comic book styles, right? I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be a horse, it could be anything. It's like what, like Malin's horse is just like pure energy. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily photographically, realistic or whatever, but it serves his purpose and serves his art style because it's very powerful and energetic, right? My stuff, it tends to be more based in realism, so maybe doesn't have the dynamic that John did with his horse.
I love that. My stuff is based in realism. No, I'm just saying, like, just making it sound like John's is like just complete garbage when you say that.
What, me? I didn't say.
I mean, my stuff is generally based in, like, good art, and then you got John.
Nah, it's not what you said.
Patrick, stop making drama. Stop making drama.
he said
My horses tend to be more realistic. His are more stylized, and so and it's usually the stylized guys that are way more popular than the more realistic guys. So. And John is certainly more popular than me. So I don't criticize people that are more popular than I am. So I'm going to stay away from that. But they're very different. So it's kind of like, rating them. It just kind of depends on what you like. I mean, that seems like a bit of a cop-out. Thank you, Katie. But it's really true. I learned a long time ago. I mean, I used to compare all the time. Oh, that guy sucks, or this guy, whatever. And now I'm just kind of like, people are working in different styles. I mean, how do you compare Arthur Adams to Adam Hughes, right? I mean, they're completely different, but they're both really, really good in what they do. So what do you prefer? That's what it comes down to, right? Is what is any particular reader or a fan, what do they like? I have certain styles that I like better than other styles, but someone else may feel completely different. So it's really difficult to say, oh, so-and-so is better than somebody else. And I know that was kind of a joking question. I'm getting serious with it, but I mean, that's really how I look at it anymore. I mean, I used to be very critical because it was like, well, that guy doesn't draw like me. So, I'm better than him. And then you start realizing, well, wait a minute, there's different voices artistically and styles that people have. So it all comes down to the fans. I mean, no one can sit there and convince me that Todd McFarlane's like a really good artist by any sort of objective standards, but he's a really cool artist and people love his style. And he's a million times more popular than I would ever do because he has more of an original voice than I do. So how do you criticize that? Right. Same with Rob Liefeld. I used to teach a class years ago and everybody would like, oh, Rob Liefeld sucks. And I go, well, you can't really say that because you're in my class and he's working professionally. I said, so what you say is, I don't like his style, but don't say he sucks because he wouldn't be where he's at if he sucked. Right. So that's kind of how I look at all that stuff now. It's some styles appeal to me, some don't, but it's never a matter of, well, is this guy better than that guy? Because if you can, especially in comics, if you can hit on that formula, that visual formula that people respond to, then you're going to be a successful artist. If you don't, then you're going to be struggling to kind of find your niche with the audience and find an audience big enough to support you, and so you're always going to, whether Ethan's better than so-and-so or Shane is better than so-and-so, or it doesn't matter. You look at their numbers, and if they're selling big numbers, then they're popular for whatever reason. And so you just got to respect that. And that's kind of how I look at it. So there you go.
Yeah, I think.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Right. I think you'll be whistling a different tune when the Great Horse Off of 2025.
Well, if you're getting into a drawing competition, there's always a little bit of trash talking and
right.
That stuff going on. But
ladies and gentlemen, back Wraith of God 3 if you can. This is going to be one of the greatest comic books in Comicsgate. I mean, I'm kind of biased, so I think it's going to be the best. But
well, thank you. At least at the day that it comes out, it'll be the best book you get that day.
Oh, it'll be. Look, it's going to be the best comic book that came out in 2025. That's my prediction right now, folks.
Okay,
Mark it
well,
down.
I'm gonna support you on your prediction then.
12/12/24, 9
Support you.
p.m. CDT. Patrick Quinlan said that Wraith of God #3 is going to be the best
Here it is.
Comicsgate book in 2025.
Okay.
Mark it down. So I'm going to read some comments that I passed over because they're more like timeless comics or comments. So let's see here. Gosh, look at them pretty pictures. Yes.
Everybody's picked up Katie's accent now.
Yes. Here's a good one. Aaron, what made you start Graybeards?
You know, there actually is a reason. I was sitting around, I would do I would randomly stream. Okay. I didn't have a daily, I do this, I do a Tuesday night show. I do this, I just streamed whenever. Right. And I was always drawing because I didn't know what else to do. And I figured that's mostly what people wanted. And so I would have David Williams on quite a bit, and we would draw back and forth. And of course he was always, oh yeah, this is way better than yours, Aaron, kind of thing. And oh no, and so we started doing this, and I started, David and I started talking off camera and about, because he didn't want to do a show himself. Mm-hmm. Right. But I said, you need more exposure than what what you have. And I said, so why don't we start doing this show regularly where we draw against each other? And so the very first show, is either the first or second show we did it. And we didn't even have a name for it yet. And Kelsey Shannon was in the chat. And David's incredibly funny, but he picks and chooses his spots, but he's not like super talkative. Right. So Kelsey he goes, he asked if he could come on to help me out, to give me more conversation while, in between David's long pauses kind of thing. And so we brought Kelsey on, and then we were just, the chemistry was so good. Then we saw, okay, well, let's do this regularly. And then, so we started asking for names in the chat, and I think someone said Graybeards, and that's the one I thought was the best. And so we went with that. And then we started realizing that it was really hard for me to keep up with the chat and draw. So David said, why don't we bring in Gary? Because Gary doesn't want to draw anyway on stream, and he can read the chat. He can keep up with the chat while we're drawing. And so that's kind of how the whole thing came about. But it was really an idea just to kind of get David more publicity. And so then we picked a time and a day that we thought, this will be our regular slot, and we'll just do this once a week. And so that's kind of how it all sort of came about.
And now you've got, I guess, with the disappearance of
Kelsey.
Now you've got Dan Law, a great addition, by the way. I saw you guys have some guests on there to kind of fill that hole for a minute.
Yeah, when I'm so lazy is not the right word. So I'm not lazy, but I don't plan ahead well, and so it's like I'm, because we're working, right? And it's kind of like you do the YouTubing to kind of support the comic book work. That's the idea. And so I'm working when I'm not YouTubing, obviously. And then it's like, oh God, now I got to plan for my show. And of course I have my Sunday show now, which I've been doing for a couple of years. But so I gotta put that together on Saturday night, right? And I never think about it until Saturday night. And then it's too late to, let's see, can I get a guest? So I just don't. And then do the same thing with Graybeards. It's just like, it just catches up with me. And then suddenly the show's upon me and I haven't invited anybody on. So I try to remember to do that, once in a while and bring a guest on. And then what happened was when someone flaked out and missed a couple of episodes, like Kelsey would disappear for a short period of time and come back. And so I would get Dan Lawless, who was always just available. He always made himself available. And another guy that we brought on the show that we discovered on Instagram, Corin Stone, who's a character designer, works in animation and stuff like that, but he's always posting really cool stuff. So I reached out to him and said, hey, do you want to do this show? Blah, blah, blah. You want to come on? And so then he became sort of a regular. And so I would rotate between him and Dan to be our guest host whenever Kelsey went missing.
He's the guy who works digitally, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, but then it I said, well, when we realized that Kelsey might have disappeared for a really long stretch of time, which is what's happened. We don't know if it's coming back or whatever. And so I thought, well, we need to get somebody in here permanently. And Dan was the guy that was most readily available and wanted to do it. So we brought Dan in as the regular. And then if Kelsey ever returns, we'll have him on as a guest once in a while. But
he's been demoted to guest level.
Well, I don't know if someone's going to be there from week to week, it's really. No. I mean, he could come if he came back. He could come on whenever he wanted to, but I would never count on him as being a regular, right?
Yeah.
So, because that's Dan's slot now, and I know that Dan's gonna be there, and every once in a while someone has to miss, and that's fine. And if I'm planning far enough ahead, I'll get someone to guest host, but a lot of times I don't. So it just ends up with whoever shows up. But anyway, so that's kind of how the whole show has worked and evolved. And we got our 100th episode coming up Wednesday. So I'm trying to get some people on that I know other people want.
Well, congratulations on the 100th episode there. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. It's amazing when you sit there and think, because 100 episodes, once a week, that's like it's 2 years.
But like, what are you going to do? Because at this point your days are numbered. I mean, I drew Wraith of God, and I feel like the people are pretty, they think it's much better than your work.
You're going to boot me. You're going to boot me out.
They're going to have me on, and I'm going to take over Graybeards. I mean, I got some gray on the sides of my hair. I think I can
That's pretty dope, Patrick. You should totally put that in the box you're going to send me in January.
Do you want it? I'll send it to you if you want it. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I'll send it to you. I even used a highlighter yellow to make his eyes. It's kind of hard to see, but I figured I had a little bit of punch to it. It's not something you would think about doing, Aaron, but I did it because I'm a consummate professional. So
no, yeah, I appreciate your the effort there.
The effort, he says.
So, but the funny thing is, Graybeards has become easily my most popular show that I do. So I'm not abandoning it anytime soon. So. But we'll keep trudging forward and see what happens.
That's good. It's one of my favorite. I feel like I've been just so glowing of you that you might feel like I'm just blowing smoke up your ass, but I'm not. Like Graybeards, I feel like is at this point my favorite Comicsgate show because I love watching people work, and I love people who are superbly talented work. And you guys always choose really cool, not always, but it's only like 5% of the time that I'm like, that's not cool. But most of the time,
you guys were voting on it though. So
that's true. And because I was the guy who was like Russian villains. Let's go with Russian villains, and everybody was.
Oh, that was you. Okay.
Yeah, that was me. I was kind of upset about that.
Yeah.
Because I think you guys would have done a great job. It would have been really cool. And
then Patriotic Heroes was going to win. You put up these choices in a poll. And you pretty much know what's going to win.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, they'll,
it's almost like the poll's rigged. Would you say that?
No, I just what you try to do is we take turns picking categories, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what you do is you generally have one that's your favorite, right? And so you think, well, I'll put these other two in here because they'll probably won't be as favorite. We'll get this one, or you pick the one that has the most subject matter.
Yeah,
you're not going to get cornered, and then you pick other ones that I could do this if it gets picked, but it's not my favorite kind of thing. And you hope that the one you like the best obviously gets picked, and most of the time it does. But every once in a while, you get a curve thrown in there, and you're like, how in the world do we end up with this? Mm-hmm. Thank you, Katie.
Flady says if Graybeards ever needs a man, I'll hop on. My macaroni paper plate art is still on my mom's fridge, and it rivals Cecil's in skill and detail.
And you'll notice we've never had Cecil on.
Wow. Okay. See, Frederick, you're accusing me of
Wait.
starting drama. We got Aaron down here. That
Clearly.
Come on.
I have an artistic standard that has to be met to be on the show.
Ooh, ooh. Do you hear that? That's the sound of a gauntlet being dropped. Wow. I missed one comment that I did want to. Where is it? Oh, Katie, did you get Gary's art book? It's truly breathtaking. He's really becoming my favorite artist for pinups. Let me make this big here. Honestly, this
There's some great stuff in that book.
Oh my gosh, it's so cool seeing some of his stuff. I got two copies of this. He sent me two, I guess. And I gave one to my friends to put on their coffee table. I was like, just put it on your coffee table. People will start paging through this and they will find something that they absolutely adore. I mean, he's got all kinds of stuff in here, but obviously the pinups of the characters are the best.
Yeah, you see, here's a little secret about Gary. Gary cannot handle the pressure of drawing live. So he just crumbles under the pressure. So so we've allowed him to be the one guy on the show who doesn't draw. Now Dale Keown came on and didn't draw, but I allowed that because I thought I could coerce him into doing it, and he didn't. But maybe next time we'll get him to.
Wasn't it you when Dale drew that Wolverine like last year or something?
That's right. Me and him, I think, were the two that. No, we did.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Dale drawing, like he's like a cosmic being. He can touch down to our level of reality is only moments, only seconds, but it's just, it's just, this perfect Wolverine drawing that just because I mean, you remember like after he did that went that was like a whole like viral thing into like regular normie comic people. They were all like, oh my God. I'm like, that's.
Well, Dale has got one of those, he's so legendary and revered. He's to a point where he just, he draws when he wants to, and that's when he draws. And you hope that you catch him on the day if you want him to draw something. Because I got him to do one of my covers for Wraith of God, the first one. He did that werewolf piece, which I've also used for the T-shirt. And I asked him if he wanted to do a cover, and I heard him on a stream talking about how much he loved werewolves. And so I brought it up to him. I said, hey, you want to do a werewolf cover for me? And he was like, I love werewolves. So I'm like, got him, reeled him in. And it still took him about, 4 months or so, and every once in a while I'd go, Dale, how's that cover coming? And he'd show me the rough and I'd go, okay, that's great. Now I'll finish it. And he eventually did though, and it's just because I hit him at the right time with something that he really wanted to draw. So I really lucked out there, but he's a tough cat to wrangle.
Aaron, do you think, and maybe you can't speak on this because maybe you actually know and you don't want to say, but do you think that it's do you think that he spends actually 4 months drawing the cover, or do you think that like he hops on it, he does something, and then he like loses the drive, and then he hops back on, does something?
Well, I can't speak specifically for Dale, but I can through experience tell you that some of the very top artists in the industry, there's no such thing as a slow artist. There's fast artists, or pardon me, there's artists that work all the time like me, and then we appear to be fast. And then there's guys that are just as fast as we are, but are easily distracted. And they take forever, but it's not because they're slow. It's because they're distracted and don't work. They don't put the hours in that someone else that grinds, like say I do, or Graham Nolan or Andy Smith, right? And so, because I've seen guys like, Adam Hughes will sit there and do this wonderful sketch in just a very short period of time. But when it actually comes to doing pages and things like that, that whole process slows down for them. And mainly, I think, because they allow themselves to get distracted, or, I can't speak specifically about anybody about what exactly, their motivation level is for anything. But yeah, I don't really believe that there are slow artists. I think there's guys that, are driven workaholics, and then there's guys that take their time.
So is it a matter of having the inspiration and just operating off of that? Is that, I guess, or is it like, because you say distraction, but it's like if you're really excited about something and it's in your brain and you could just.
The thing is, when you're drawing professionally, it becomes a job. And then, whenever you're supposed to do something, you go out of your way to find something else to do because it doesn't seem as quite as fun. Right.
I see.
And that's true even of being an artist, which sounds absurd because what could be more fun than being an artist? But it's like anything else. When you have to do something, that's when you really struggle to do it. You're always looking for excuses to do something else.
Yes.
Excuse me. So, but, I've always been one of those guys that, I got married, I bought a house, I had kids. And it's like, when you put yourself in that realm, you've got to have a regular paycheck. You've got to pay the bills. And so that's always been my motivation. A lot of guys that are really, really good, they treat it more like fine arts than they do commercial art, right? And so you get these wonderful pieces from them, but you don't get them very often. And but they don't necessarily feel the need to, I've got to get 5 pages done this week. They could do it, but they don't want to do it. You know what I mean? And so
it takes like another, that, like doing the art and doing a page is one whole set of skills, but then like doing it fast and doing it like repetitively, like how you're saying, how you stay busy, that's like a whole nother, it's not the same skill.
Yeah, it's a mental grind, and it's not fun.
Do you feel like it's repetitive though when you get to decide what the page layout? I mean, I assume for you do because it's your work. You get to decide what the layout is. You get to decide what goes on the page. Do you feel like you're kind of you've got the pressure on you?
It is repetitive to a certain degree because you can. I mean, I've done literally hundreds of comics, thousands of pages over my career. And at some point you're repeating stuff. It may not be the same characters, but there's only so many angles you can draw. Right. And there's only, and so you start to develop, shortcuts is the right way to say it, but you certain approaches to different scenes or different, shots that, I can draw this faster this way and meet my deadline. And so you develop these sort of habits and they do feel familiar. Right. And now if the subject matter changes enough, or you're really in love, like when I was drawing the Herculoids, I mean, I only did 3 issues of it, but I really, really, really wanted to do it, so that was like fun. And I was just eager to work on it. And same when I did, Wonder Woman Conan miniseries, that was just a blast. I really, really wanted to do that. And, but then you stuck in other projects that you don't care about. It was what was available. So you took it, and then to try to get the motivation to really bring it is difficult because it's like you don't have a dog in the fight, right? You're just doing it for the paycheck. And, one of those jobs that came up that was like that for me was when I did Amethyst. So we started off the New 52 doing Justice League International, Dan Jurgens and I. And it was a surprise hit, but they had so many Justice League books. Some of the people in the upper echelons wanted to get rid of Justice League Europe.
I mean, who would want Justice League Europe? That sounds kind of...
I'm probably not Justice League Europe, Justice League International. The book I was drawing, right? And Dan Jurgens was writing.
Oh, I mean, I'm sorry. Everybody wants that. Sorry.
Yeah. Come on. Jeez, so, but it was doing well, but it was very different than the other. It was very different than the other Justice League books, right? And so they ended up getting pressure to, or they pressured Dan DiDio to cancel it. And, Jurgens and I both kind of made our appeal to Dan DiDio, saying, look man, the book's selling. Why would you cancel something that's working? If you don't want it to be a Justice League book, let's make the whole team go rogue. And it doesn't have to be a Justice League book, but we can keep doing the book. And then of course he disagreed and they canceled the book. And he, of course, later regretted it. I always hate that when someone comes to you and go, yeah, you guys were right. We shouldn't have canceled it. Well, thanks. But so anyway, I got into a situation where I was like, well, what are they going to give Aaron now? And so this Amethyst thing came up and I was like, oh God, I don't want to do this. And it's going to get canceled. And I knew it would. And it did after 7 issues. But I had to sort of evaluate the project in my mind, saying, okay, this is going to be something, okay, I'm not really all that interested in doing. However, I have to create this entire world, which made it even harder, right? It wasn't something that was established. But then you sort of say, okay, you know what? I'm going to take this on as a challenge. And I'm going to really try to improve my skills at design and world building, right? So I took this thing on with that in mind, a project that I didn't want to do. And then I made it into something that challenged me. And then suddenly I did want to do it. Right. And so it was one of the hardest books I've ever drawn, because every page practically was a new environment that no one had ever seen before. And I had to design it. And you're not getting paid to design it. It's not like I had 6 months to design all this whole world.
Yeah.
I was doing it per page as I was going along.
Yeah.
And so it was incredibly challenging and really, really hard. But I kind of, like I said, I kind of put myself in that mode where I'm like, I can really grow from doing this. Instead of going, God, this sucks. How can I? And it didn't suck, by the way. It was really well written. And, but I could have just gone, I really don't want to draw this, and just kind of phoned it in, and it would have been crap, right? And I could have got through it and the book gets canceled after 7 issues. But instead, it turned it into this challenge that I wanted to take on and felt I could grow from. And then it became a really nice looking book, and a well-written, nice looking book that nobody bought. But at least I don't look back on it. I'm not, embarrassed by it. I'm pretty proud of it. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of the mind games you play with yourself to try and. Now there's some projects I was unable to do that with, and I was just like, okay, this is a 4-issue miniseries. Just got to get through it. But that was one example where I was actually able to kind of rise above where I was at mentally on it and turn it into something else, a positive, where it would have been a negative otherwise.
Let me see here. Speaking of negatives, well, that segue didn't work, but Love Nuggets says, does the chat even work? Yes, it works. Hello, Love Nuggets. I never said hello to you. I apologize for never saying hello to you. I also never said hello to Rocky Macabre. So hello, Rocky Macabre. Thank you. Thank you for being here. You know who else I didn't say hello to? Wrangler. What's up, Wrangler? He says a whole lot of hola.
Hey, how's it going, Wrangler?
Yes, Wrangler. Aaron, Mr. Self-Destruct is outing me here. He says, Patrick is a huge fan, really, Aaron. It's a shame you have to see him like this tonight.
He is.
This is mostly your guys' fault anyway. So, but yeah.
Let me comment. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No.
Let me comment real quick on what we're looking at. This is the previous picture was a Wraith Nouveau print that you can get with the campaign. This is also another item. This is Wraith of God Roughs Volume 3, and it's 48 pages of layouts for the graphic novel. So you can kind of like look behind the scenes, get sort of the process and how the page was developed. So these are kind of fun, and they all come signed and numbered. And there's really very few extras when I print these. I print them basically to order. I just print enough extras so that if some get damaged, I can replace them.
How many
Even
do you
in
have? How many
even
do you
in
have
the
left?
roughs, the horses look awesome, man. Look at that.
Oh,
Well,
so
that's
you
usually when they look better. It's
you
when
will
start
print
refining it
these to
the-
number, but there's gonna like that's it, or you're saying like there's only a limited amount already?
I'm not talking about the comic book itself. I'm talking
No, not
about
the comic.
rough.
I know. Yeah, the roughs.
So whatever the orders are, say I get 300 orders for them, right?
Mhm.
I'll print up maybe 3 1/4. So I have 25 extras in case some get damaged, or maybe 350 at most. And that's it. That's all there'll
Okay.
be. And so all those, they come signed and numbered. So it'll be like one of 300.
Like the
2 of 300.
hardcover Kit Carter.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
And so they're really sort of, they become very rare. And if you discover them later, say you can't get them because they just don't have any. Like from the very first, the Wraith of God Roughs Volume 1, I probably have 10 copies that aren't damaged left. And Wraith of God Volume 2, not many more than that. And that'll be the same with this. So
Do you sell the damaged copies anywhere?
if someone not really, unless someone's, I run out and someone says, oh, you have any copies? I go, well, I've got some damaged ones. I'll sell them to you for half price or whatever.
Uh-huh.
They have a dinged corner. Then I do, but I don't throw them out there as,
Because the chat's been talking about, I mean, in addition to the free thing commission, they've also been talking about you sending those to me. Interesting.
giving you free damaged copies.
Well, not free, but
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll once I run out of all the good copies, then I'll say,
hold on, this
I've
one's
got some
good. A
damaged
horse is a
ones.
horse, of course, unless
There
it's
you go.
drawn by Aaron Lopresti.
there you go.
Sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No,
Go
no,
ahead.
that's totally fine. It's your show.
All right, then from now on, I'm going to interrupt you during every sentence you speak because it's my show. I can do
That's
whatever I
right.
want.
That's
No,
right.
I'm just kidding. But I will say, you were talking about things that are rare. You know what's also rare is racism, direct, blatant
Wow,
racism
Rocky.
on my show.
Wow.
The sheer audacity of some people. I try to keep a family-friendly show. I try to keep all the fucking language, all the fucking violence, all that, the sex, all that out of my show, right? I'm trying to keep it family-friendly. And you guys are coming in here with direct racism. You know what I have to say to that? The kind of thing that makes me so upset. This is what I have. Rocky Macabre, this is a personalized message for you. First of all, Rocky, you